So I'm joined today by Colin Paterson from Drivetech. Hello, Colin.
Hello, hiya, John.
So at Drivetech, tell us a little bit about what the organisation does.
We're part of the AA, the Automobile Association. We're the driver training, driver risk management special operation within the AA. Our main mission is to reduce danger on the roads by training drivers. In essence, we have a police speed awareness side to our business. So often, if you may sadly be nicked for speeding, we might be a course deliverer. We do quite a lot of that in the UK. And then similarly, on the fleet side of our business, wherever a business recognises, well, all businesses must recognise a duty of care, we provide driver training, driver risk management services to make sure that businesses keep their fleets and their drivers safe.
And I guess electric vehicles is a new element coming into your world.
Yes, I mean, our main focus, as mentioned, is on the driver and the driver's attitude, behaviour, competence behind the wheel. And yes, although EVs come on, we've still got steering wheels, thank goodness. But EV is a different powertrain. Subtly, in my opinion, quite subtle differences in driving experience. But yes, absolutely, we're like the rest of the industry seeing an increasingly accelerated uptake of EV vehicles, both car and van, and interestingly, areas of other heavy goods vehicles, but particularly cars and vans, we're seeing a lot more businesses wanting to be trained in the safe and effective, efficient use of EV.
So what made you want to join a group of 50 vehicles driving from John O'Groats to Land's End in electric vehicles, not just petrol or diesel, but purely electric? What made you want to do that?
Well, I must confess, first of all, I personally didn't. So just for the record and for my colleagues, I suppose trying to protect my innocence, I declined to go. I get dreadfully car sick in cars, especially if I'm a passenger and if I have to navigate. So I wasn't a particularly good sample. However, what motivated Drivetech, and in particular Dave Wales, Craig McCall, Keith Freeman and Laura McGee to come forward was, I think, we experienced a fantastic event around COP26 around Scotland last year. I think that was the inaugural programme or rally. We loved it. We thought it was a fantastic experience, great fun, great proving ground for EV infrastructure, and also to get the camaraderie of the road and a number of drivers all participating together was, I think, a fantastic cocktail of experience. So GBEV Rally, the 2022 experience, was to me a no-brainer. We really enjoyed it. We wanted to participate again, and it was a week of, I guess without sounding too exaggerated, it was a week of celebration of the emergence and increasing uptake of EV in the country.
I guess, though, that it didn't all go according to plan. There were some challenges.
Well, I would deny knowledge of any challenges with the Drivetech team. Both teams, so we had a car and a van team, and as I think you might describe or talk about elsewhere, the routes were interesting. So we had a West Coast run for the cars and an East Coast of the country run for the vans. I didn't participate, so I can keep my hands clean. I mean, I believe there was some mechanical issues with maybe one or two vehicles, but I'm not aware of any fundamental issues around EV and EV infrastructure. So I know I mentioned at the beginning of this, we are part of the AA, and I must say, because they'll kill me otherwise, the AA also were a distinct and separate participant, both car and van, and did a marvellous job, I think, helping to recover somebody or to help somebody out.
Indeed.
And again, your experience, John, because you were on it and I wasn't, but my understanding is there was some mechanical hiccups, but I don't believe there was anything fundamentally awry with vehicles arriving at charging points. And apart from waiting, which is to some degree an inevitability, waiting for a charging point to become free, I think that the actual proof of concept in terms of travelling the length and breadth of the country and being able to stop at checkpoints or charging points and successfully charge up and carry on, I think was pretty well delivered over the week.
Very much so. I think the one mechanical that we had was actually a blown out tyre. Sadly, somebody on a narrow Scottish road had to pull over slightly onto the verge to allow an oncoming vehicle to go through. And unfortunately, the sidewall of the tyre got a little bit unhappy and gave up.
Which, of course, is a non-EV issue. I guess
Precisely.
We've got that one to come for whether it's ICE or EV long into the future.
Absolutely. From the guys that did the rally, I remember EV Keith being just outstanding. One of the drivers, his fastidious taking of notes around how many miles he'd driven, what energy he had used, was phenomenal. What were the key learnings that came out of the GB Rally for Drivetech?
First of all, we have other names for Keith in the business other than fastidious, but I think we'll stick with fastidious. Those who follow football, we might also call him Stato. But yes, you're right, Keith is meticulous. Clipboard, written down stuff, not necessarily computer-based, but boy, does he plan and schedule the day and the stopping points and the expected charge, etc., etc. I mean, what did we learn? I think the van team, so Keith was in a car, a VW ID3, and the van team were in a Toyota Pro Ace van. I think the fundamentals are planning is key. So I think they all enjoyed the journey. They all enjoyed the camaraderie and the participation. The main point of Keith's fastidiousness, if that is a word, was plan, and do more planning. And then again, whether it's EV or ICE, your journey becomes much more expected. There's less shocks. You know roughly what to anticipate. And I guess primarily your focus, therefore, is on the driving task and driving safely. So learning curves for us, A, really enjoyable week. B, the infrastructure from John O'Groats down to Land's End was pretty good. And actually, I think another learning curve is we've proven, although we probably knew this, the topography, the geography, accessing London 1 minute, the next the Highlands of Scotland, Cumbria, Milton Keynes. We covered so many different sort of natures of road. I think it was a really good, broad experience. Keith had a telematics device fitted, courtesy of one of the sponsors, GBEV Rally. And I believe, Keith, we're now going to get some data from those guys and understand it a little bit more thoroughly. But I think Keith's driving, the guys in the vans were frustrated because they didn't have telematics, and they say they did well as well. But with data backing up Keith's performance, I think his driver behavior, evidenced by the telematics device, was second to none. Maybe the Guinness Book of Records guys picked us, but Keith was very fastidious, as you said, and actually came on blob in terms of economic, efficient driving. Good result all told, and we were very pleased.
He was absolutely outstanding. And I think the thing that stuck in my mind, I saw Keith on the road a number of times in the Drivetech vehicles. And what I noticed was that as I drove past in the car at, 55, 60, 65, I would pass Keith and he'd be stuck at 54, 55, 56 miles an hour. And I'd think, you are never going to beat me getting to the next checkpoint. And I'd rock up and there'd be Keith. And somehow, and I don't know how he did it, I think it's through great planning, he was able to achieve a journey which was just as efficient as more efficient than mine, because I was going faster, but spending longer charging, whereas actually he was making the energy work better for him. Genius. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. Great guy.
He's, I suppose I don't want to head towards Captain Slow terminology, but slow and steady wins the day. That's a fairly, simplistic statement. But I think most of us who are mature drivers, and a lot of our driver training is around this, is the race from a set of lights to the next set of lights is a pretty pointless exercise. So going fast and stopping and starting isn't necessarily the best way to run, and whether it's EV or ICE. Sure, with EV there is regeneration, so power put back into the battery by braking, but generally slow, steady, consistent driving wins the day. And actually, I think Keith bears this out because he's a pretty experienced guy, but it's also a heck of a lot less stressful.
Yes, yes. And that was what I found. As I progressed throughout the week, we started in the Highlands, and I was in a Tesla Model 3, and I was just having a ball, absolute ball, brilliant to drive, very responsive, coming down through the Highlands. And having spoken to some of the other drivers, what I realized was that anticipating what's coming, and then thinking that through and what I'm seeing in front of me, allowing things to unfold, meant that the journey became far more enjoyable, because I'm not sitting at the edge of my seat thinking, right, I've got to brake hard into this corner, accelerate hard out. I was thinking, oh, this is lovely. This is pleasant. I'm enjoying this. And I got a much more rewarding drive as a result of it, because I was seeing that there was something coming 200 yards down the road. There's no point in me booting it 200 yards and meeting that car and then having to slow right down, wasting energy. So it was a real revelation for me. And that was as a result of the stuff that you guys were doing.
Yeah,
Behavior
we were
change
really
is key,
pleased.
isn't it?
We were pleased. I mean, the organisers, GreenFleet, encouraged us to perhaps provide a tip of the day, and Keith was delighted. EV Keith was delighted to do that. Again, they weren't rocket science, but they were fairly sensible tips about planning, anticipating, and just modifying your behaviour. A lot of them are around common sense. Sadly, sometimes we might forget that when we're a bit heated behind the wheel, but slow and sure, keep it calm, and plan ahead. Really good, messages to retain.
Wise words from you there, Colin. In terms of the future, do you see you doing the GBEV Rally again?
I would hope so. Although Mr. Boynton at GreenFleet did ping, I think, everybody whilst everyone was still in flight on the Friday, suggesting that we all sign up for 2023. So cynicism and commercialism aside, I, again, through my colleagues, thoroughly enjoyed it. And I think, John, I did try and muscle in at Rockingham on the Wednesday. And that was the proof to me that everyone, the atmosphere was fantastic. The teams were all chatting and talking. And I thought, this is great. There's not a lot of antagonism and competition in the true sense of the word. There was a fantastic community of people enjoying a week out, getting a message across to the broader fleet community and wider. So I've avoided your question. Should we sign up again? Probably. I again reference my car sickness. I think I might be trying to commit other colleagues within Drivetech, and they might not thank me for that. But I think it was a thoroughly enjoyable week, proved a load of points, and I hope we can actively participate again.
You were absolutely outstanding. I think what came through for me strongest was that it's not really about technology. It's not really about what the drivetrain is and what charging infrastructure you've got. It's about people and a mindset and making it work. You helped us to make it work. So I just can't thank the organisation Drivetech enough for what you did. And of course, the sister organisation, the AA, for helping out along the way and giving us that reassurance that all would be well, and all was well.
And ditto, we thoroughly enjoyed it. And I thought it was a true and classic team effort. It's great.
It's all about the people, and it's all about behaviour change. Bless you, Colin.
Thank you, John.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Cheerio. Bye.
Yeah, mate. Bye.